So, guys, moving on to the Toronto Raptors. As you know, well, many of you who follow Toronto sports, the Raptors lost to the Philadelphia 76ers last playoffs. It was a good series. I don't know about you, but in that series, I never really thought that the Raptors were gonna actually beat Philadelphia. I didn't have that feeling like that they were actually gonna get past that team. Like they gave them a good run for their money, but like I don't like they just weren't like strong enough to beat them, and like in my opinion, and that was mainly to do with Joel Embiid, right? Like when you don't have a player or players that can stop that guy from scoring because he's just so big and like so good at getting to the net and getting to his spots and scoring, it's very hard to stop that team because he could single-handedly like win games for you, It's kind of like what we had with Kawhi Leonard that when we won that year, So nonetheless, though, I think this young group of Raptors has a chance to make noise this season. We didn't really do much in the offseason except improve. I think we signed a couple guys, but I think they were more looking for like internal improvement from the team that we do have. Otto Porter Jr. was one player that they acquired this offseason. I would say realistic expectations for this season for the Raps are that if healthy, the team makes the playoffs, and depending on the opponent, possibly wins a round or hopefully two. I would say winning a round would be a step in the right direction and improvement, on last season, right? Because last season we were in the playoffs, but we didn't win the round. So, you would think that the improvement would be to win the round, right? This time around. Most NBA experts and analysts do not see this roster as currently constructed to be a championship contender just yet. They feel we still lack the necessary depth to make a deep run. I would agree with that. We need more player development from our young guys as well. Obviously, it takes time to build a championship team, right? Like players have to be comfortable in their own skin, make a name for themselves in the league, become useful parts of the team, contributing to a winning team, and just become experienced. And we don't really have that much experience. Those young guys don't have as much experience, right? So it just takes time. Having said that, though, a starting lineup of Fred VanVleet, we know what he can do. OG Anunoby, who's become an awesome player, like all-around player. Gary Trent Jr. with his shots, and Scottie Barnes, the young up-and-coming player, and Pascal Siakam. He's just our all-star. That group right there makes a pretty strong, consistent group, starting lineup that can compete with the best of them on any given night, in my opinion. That's a good group right there. They're not like that group, if they play to their capabilities, can win more games than not for the Raps. I would say one challenge that awaits the Raps this season is that many teams, especially in the Eastern Conference, I would say they improved this offseason. There's not really if you look at the top 6-7 teams in the East, they got a little bit better. How much better than the Raptors? You could argue, maybe, give or take. Some got a lot better, some not some not much better, but not really. There's not many teams that I think took a step back, in the Raptors conference this season. Right, yeah, like I said, right, you could argue that the Raptors only marginally improved aside from the Otto Porter acquisition. Everyone on the team remains untouched, so I guess the Raptors are looking for more of internal growth from the players that are on the team, and another season with Nick Nurse, and how good of a coach he can be. Come the season end, though, I, along with fans and other experts, expect the Raptors to be fighting for, this is their expectations, expect the Raptors to be fighting for a top 6 spot in the conference. So as we all know, the top 8 teams make the playoffs. So top 6 spot means that they would be in the 6th position, playing the 3rd team in the conference without home court. Obviously, as we know, it's really hard to get home court advantage. You got to be in the top 4 spots of the conference. And that requires you to win a lot of games, which the Raptors are capable of, but I'm not sure if they do that this season. So they are a good team, no doubt about it. Fans can be assured of that. And even though this team is still young, there is playoff experience on this team, right? Some of the players that won with the Raptors 2019 are still there, right? Like OG is still there, Pascal Siakam is still there. Fred VanVleet is still there. You know what I'm saying? There's players still there that not many, right? But there's still players there that have that pedigree, that winning pedigree, that were on that team, that know what it takes to get there, even Chris Boucher, right? So yeah, we do have some playoff experience amongst that group. And any team overlooking that, any opposing team overlooking that, is gonna be in for a rude awakening. This team is actually better than people are saying, right? I would classify the Raptors as sneaky good, right? Like they're not gonna blow you away with their stars or whatever, right? But they're like a sneaky good team that's like tough to play, and that if you're not on your game, they can beat you. That's how I would classify the Raptors. Like they can beat you if you're not on top of your game, And the Raptors defense is a very strong thing, right? They're very defensive minded team, and that's thanks to Nick Nurse. He knows defense wins championships. That's how we won our championship in 2019. So I'll give him all the credit in the world for how he coaches and the quality job he's done with the Raptors throughout the years. One thing I personally am hoping to see this season though is Chris Boucher, who resigned this offseason, by the way. Canadian-born, from Montreal, right? I hope he takes a step forward in his game and becomes more of a threat on the offensive glass. I mean, he's tall enough to do that, right? Like he's lanky, he can make some threes. If he's more of a force on that side of the glass, on the offensive glass, on the offensive end, I think it'll do wonders for the rest of the guys, and how comfortable they are playing him out there in certain situations. Hopefully, he can take his defensive game to the next level as well. So yeah, we shall see, guys. Only time will tell. I have a good feeling about this team this season, though. Looking forward to seeing how the season plays out and beyond. I hope that they make the playoffs and they give whoever they face a run for their money, and hopefully win a round or two. Who knows, right? I'm hopeful, and I'm looking forward to actually going to a couple games too if I can. I always try to get out to at least a couple games a year. It's not always easy with timing and scheduling and pricing and stuff like that. Going to Toronto sports here can be quite expensive, but going to a couple of games, 2 or 3 games here is always doable, and it's something I look forward to every season, every year. So yeah, let's see how they do, and till then, go Raptors, go! Or well, let's go Raptors is the chant. Later.